Okay, let's try looking at how to draw windows in one-point perspective again, okay? So I drew doors, and that's posted in another video, and I tried to draw windows, and my pencil broke, and then, I ran out of time. So, one-point perspective windows. Here we go. All right, so let me change. Oh, now we'll change the view for you. There we go. Alrighty. So we've got our buildings. Oh, now it's... Okay. Let me try that again. There we go. Sorry about that. Now, windows. Okay, so I started off with a vertical parallel line, all right? And I made that for my windows starting at the bottom. I want to start at the bottom and go to the top. It works a lot easier. Things line up better. I don't know why. It just works that way. Now, I'm going to line up with the bottom of my building, and I'm going to draw the bottom of my window. I want to keep the horizontal part of my window parallel to the horizontal part of my building. So here we go. Ta-da! I drew over and stopped short so that of the side of the building, so that way there was a little space. Okay? Now I'm going to keep this parallel, and again, I'm going to draw the other side of my window, and then I'll draw the top. Right here, it doesn't necessarily matter what order I draw them in, as long as I keep my lines parallel. Okay, that's the most important part, is that I'm keeping them parallel. Okay, now I have a big window. Okay, this is what I call the grouped together window. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this out into some smaller windows. Now, if you are a person that it's going to bother you if they're not all exactly the same size, please measure, please figure out how many windows you can divide them into and make them all nice and neat if that is something that you need to do. All right, but for demonstration purposes, I'm not going to go through all of that. So now I have a set of grouped together windows. Now, normally, if I was going to be creating this and I was going to be turning it in or displaying it somewhere, I would continue with these grouped together windows throughout the entire building. But this is a demonstration, and I want to show you how to make these kind of singular windows, okay? So here we go. So I'm going to start the same way I did the other windows. I'm going to line them up, keeping it parallel. I'm going to give a little bit of space because there will be space between my rows of windows. And I'm going to make my first vertical line. Ta-da! Now I want to make a horizontal line that is parallel to the other horizontal lines. So here we go. And now I'm going to make a broken line. So I'm going to draw so far, and I'm going to leave some space, and then I'm going to draw another bottom of a window. Okay? So I've got two windows that I'm working on, all right? And I've got the bottom and one vertical line. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to make my other vertical lines, okay? So I'm going to line it up, I'm going to keep it parallel, and I'm going to make my next set of vertical lines, okay? I want to keep them parallel, so I'm using the side of my building to help me out. If you don't have grid lines on your rulers, just go from the side and very carefully slide it over. It is possible. It's just a little more time consuming. Then I'm going to line up again. If I need to, I can go from the bottom and slide it up. I realize now that you did not see that. I can go from the bottom of my window, which I lined up with the bottom of my building, and I can carefully slide my ruler up to the top of the lines, and then I can go across. Individual windows, if you don't have a clear see-through ruler, is slightly more difficult. They're not impossible. They're just slightly more difficult. So that's two types of windows on the front of my building. Now, generally speaking, no. I would go with the same window top to bottom, or bottom to top, all right? Now let's take a look at the side. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start with my vanishing point. Here's the closest line. Here's the farthest line. I want to start with the farthest line. Okay, so I'm going to line it up. I'm going to slide it over just a little bit. And I'm going to draw my vertical line. Okay, here's my vertical line. From the bottom of that line, I'm going to line up with my vanishing point, and I'm going to draw the line all the way across to almost the end of my building, and I'm going to stop. And I made that a little too long. I'm going to back it up just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to go from the top of my line. I'm going to line it up with the vanishing point, and I'm going to draw to the other side. All right, now I'm going to line it up, slide it over, and join those two lines together. All right, these lines are kind of hard to see. I do apologize. Go over them and make them slightly darker so you can see them a little better. Okay, now I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to divide out my windows using vertical lines. I need to use vertical lines. If I do not use vertical lines, my windows are going to look weird. Now, from here, you might be like, they still look weird, Miss Broquet. I don't know what you're talking about. They still look weird. Well, yes, but that's the angle that this building is, okay? So if we look at this one, okay, you can see that shows that their windows are going back in space. That's what you have to remember on the side, is that the windows are going back in space. All right, so that's grouped together windows on the side. Individual windows on the side. Start at the farthest from the vanishing point again. Slide it in a little bit, keeping your line parallel. Make that first vertical line, leaving some space between your windows. I realize I did not line that up with the window underneath quite as well as I could have, but demonstration purposes. All right, so now I'm going to line up with the bottom of the window. I'm going to go over. I'm going to make it a broken line. Go ahead and go over. Okay? I did not put a lot of space between my rows of windows. Now I'm going to go over. Go up. Over. Go up. Over. Up. My ruler is nice and vertical. All right. Now I'm going to go from the top of my line, and I'm going to line it up with the vanishing point, and I'm going to go over and connect my lines. Now this time, I did not do so great at connecting and having long enough lines, okay? So I'm vertical lines. So I'm going to line it back up so it's nice and vertical, and I'm going to fill in the little lines that I'm missing, okay? So, windows, group together windows, separate windows. These are not the only types of windows. They're not, ooh, I'm upside down. That's fun. They are not the only types of windows that you can use, but, ta-da, raise it up. They're not the only types of windows that you can use, but they are fast, they're easy, and they look nice. So what more could you want?